Good afternoon. Thanks for having me today. It's a real pleasure to be here and speak. It's been a wonderful day so far. Thanks, Camille, for organizing it. And my name is Greg Niemeyer. I'm a researcher and professor here at Cal. And I'm interested in, I'm a creative worker. I design games. And I'm interested in feedback loops that can help us understand better how to act on the information that we have. We have plenty of information. That's not a problem. The problem is attention. How do we shift our attention from what we're already doing to these new kinds of pressures that we're facing? And some of the things we've seen today have helped us to do that. But frankly speaking, I have a hard time just shifting my attention to the next appointment on my calendar sometimes. And that is data that I have available every day, and I have to act on it every day. And sometimes I don't even do that right. So how can you expect someone like me to engage in pressing issues such as global warming and climate change? We are clearly we have plenty of access to information, but we don't have enough access to decision-making powers. One thing that might help is to think about feedback loops that feed on each other. And I'm referring to Richard Bartle's paper about MUDs in the 80s, where he looked at multi-user domains and looked at how people keep each other in the space. What do we do to keep each other in the space? And what do we do right here to keep each other in the conference? Well, we tell each other interesting ideas and share interesting ideas and engage each other with questions and answers and dialogues. And you can qualify it in several ways. And this is after Bartle, as I said. So one thing we certainly like to do is to socialize. Some of us really like to socialize, and we really like to say, well, I'm just here to make friends, right? And others are here to collaborate because we can't collaborate alone. We have to collaborate with somebody, so we come to places where people are. And we find common goals together, and we seek collective achievement. There's also explorers, people who aren't really into collaborating as much, but who really try to discover a lot of new information. And those are the researchers among us, and there's certainly some of us who are rather in the lab than we are in a panel or in a collaborative situation. Although many labs are actually very collaborative, and there's certainly such a thing as collaborative exploration, hence the arrows. Some of us don't like to collaborate or explore that much. We just want to compete, and we want to win. And there's a lot of us at Cal here, students, for example, who have the habit of just getting the A, and they have a certain mindset and a certain energy, and with that, they solve a lot of problems. They feed very well on those who socialize, because those who socialize are great people to compete with because they're always kind of distracted and they are easy to win against. So the nice thing is you see is that these four dynamics, they all feed on each other and they keep each other in the space. And so if we can build a dynamic like that around a new kind of data set, such as air quality or water or obesity, we might win. But if we don't, we will lose, and because these pressures will hit us really hard and we'll be overwhelmed by them. So let's look at a few examples of work we've done. I've done a lot of music together with Professor Chris Chafe from Stanford, and today I just want to show one piece that we did last year and a piece I actually did just for this conference just now. That is going to be shown here for the very first time. And I'm very curious to see what you think of it. To play the second piece, I'll want to have the lights down. For the first piece, we don't really need that. The first piece is mostly about engagement. So here we have the graph of samples of air quality that we took from, actually, a Japanese TV show borrowed our air quality sensors and ran around the world with them, and they measured air quality along a certain parallel here. And they came through California, and they gave us the data here that they collected with our sensors from 7 different locations, hence it's called 7 airs. And we have a ranch, an oil well, a desert, a beach, grove, Hollywood, downtown. And so which set of data would you like to hear? Call one out, please. Oil, big oil. OK. The oil wells. All right, so let's select this. And you will see first the graph comes up. And the graph itself is not very compelling. But then we have music. And the music is a remix of Hotel California extracted to a guitar and a flute. And Hotel California doesn't play out the way it used to because we have all these environmental pressures. And so we're tracking 2 parameters, volatile organic compounds and CO2. And this is very qualitative data, not quantitative. Somewhere in an oil well there, and a lot of volatile organic compounds came out. And here I think they went closer to one of the pumps. And the funny effect here is that just because the music and the data are synced so closely, we all follow these dots like something else is going to happen, right? So we're glued to these dots. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And sure enough, we anticipate it, and then it delivers. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then again. And so this function of anticipation, that's what we really should have when we look at data about pollution. So that's one way of building engagement, of syncing up time and syncing up sound and image and many other factors of our parameters of our perception at one point, creating a focal point for our attention that we can easily engage with. Of course, this is data that's historical, so a lot of the data describes the past, but what we really need in a sense is data describes the future. In other words, effective predictions and predictors of what our outcomes are likely to be like given a certain action. So that was last year, and this year I'm going to present something else. And as I said, now would be a good time to lower the lights. So I just want you to spend a little bit of time with this thing here. And we're going to go back to the Maldives here. We're looking at data from the Maldives from water levels, sea levels, from 1992 to 2012. One of the problems we had in the previous piece is that we couldn't really show how much time passed in an effective way. So we dealt with that here differently. And so here we have the data starting in 1992, and I'll just hit the go button. And can we turn off the blue lights? Oh, super. Thank you so much. All right, now here we go. Let's hit it. Okay. So this leaves us with This leaves us with a set of data that ends in April 30th, 2012, and what it describes is the gradual level of sea rise around rise of sea levels around the Maldives. In 2004, one of the Maldive islands disappeared. It is being reconstructed right now. The average height of Maldives is 2.5 meters, and we're looking at a 30-centimeter change in average water levels, and it's likely to go up, and the Maldives are likely to disappear. They're a country visited by many tourists, inhabited by many people, and they will simply have to move in short order in order to live in a solid territory. And a lot of coastal regions are impacted like this. What I find compelling is that the changes in sea level due to the phases of the moon, due to ebb and flow, are more significantly perceivable than the changes in sea level overall. And so on one day it may look much lower than on the previous one, and on the other day it may look much higher. And because of this high daily change, we don't really see the gradual encroachment of water on our levels. So it's hard to perceive the low frequency data over the impression of the high frequency data. And so this leads me to the fundamental problem, which is that in order to address some of the issues and make data actionable, we need to address 2 points. Number one, we have to figure out how large our community is. We have to figure out how many people we want to include in our decision-making process. Do we just want to include the United States? Like many maps we've seen today just had the United States on them. Do we just want to include Berkeley? Do we just want to include our family or the people we meet with in the next half hour? How large is our decision-making scope in terms of the community we're talking about? Or do we want to include the whole world? Do we want to include the Maldives as well? And in that case, we really shouldn't drive to work anymore, because that's going to ruin their islands. And it's very simple. We know the causes and effects. We just need to think about whether we want to care about them or not. The other question is the temporal dynamic, right? What kind of time frame are we going to make our decisions for? Are we going to make them for the next 24 hours? Or are we going to make them for the next 25 years? And Obama mentioned in his inauguration speech that we have a responsibility to take care of the planet for many generations. The Hopi Indians knew that as well. They had the concept of the 7 generations, that we don't do anything that is bad for 7 generations to come, or for 7 generations preceding us. That is a beautiful thought. But how do we act on it? And if we do act on it, that means we make a lot more decisions that are less selfish and less satisfying in the present moment. And that is a huge shift in culture. So if we look for visualizations of those topics, we have to look for visualizations of what validates selfishness and immediate rewards, and we have to look for visualizations of what validates long-term thinking and inclusive strategies. I'll end with that. Thank you.